We stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as is required by Chapter 231 Public Law 1975 with respect to the Home News Tribune to publish the same. This announcement must be entered into the minutes of the meeting. Roll call, Maria.
Chairman England?
Here.
Commissioner Frank?
Present.
Commissioner Castro?
Here.
Commissioner Moskowitz?
Here.
Okay, we have 3 sets of minutes to adopt. It's due December the 5th first.
I move the adoption of December 5th minutes.
Second?
Second. Or did you second something?
No,
Or
you
add?
can second. You can second.
Okay. I don't know if she asked for or seconded.
Roll call?
Chairman England?
Yes.
Commissioner Frank?
Yes.
Commissioner Castro?
Yes.
Commissioner Moskowitz?
Yes.
Right.
Move the
December.
adoption of the December 10th minutes.
Okay, go ahead.
Second.
Roll call?
Chairman England?
Yes.
Commissioner Frank?
Yes.
Commissioner Castro?
Yes.
Commissioner Moskowitz?
Yes.
December 13th?
I'll move that adoption, but I'm going to be abstaining because I wasn't at the meeting. So move the adoption of December 13th minutes. Yeah, I can move it.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Chairman England?
Yes.
Commissioner Frank?
Yes.
Sorry, can we switch for a second because we have to do our report?
I'm abstaining. Abstaining.
Sure.
Once both of us sit there,
Commissioner
if
Moskowitz?
you don't mind.
Yes. Thank you. I think I might have even commented on
being
Well, we have never been here for a
appreciating
report.
specifics in those meetings where the explanations were given regarding the choice of rejection of the ballot and the numbers included. Neatly done, but appropriately done.
We're following the agenda here.
Was that in the minutes?
No, we're going to do old business.
No, those things were in the minutes, and I'm commenting on having read those minutes. What I did was appreciate the fact that they were clearly written and concise in terms of the numbers that were necessary. So I thought that was the appropriate time to make that mention. You've done a lot.
Okay, under old business, we have the, Tom, are you going to give the update?
In terms of the mail ballot design, we just
I talked to Claudia today, they sent their requirements to the printer and we're waiting for a mock-up of the envelope. Did you guys?
I heard you.
Okay, so I talked to Claudia.
You don't need that.
Excuse me.
We listened to what Linda has to say, please.
I talked to Claudia from the county clerk regarding the design of the mail-in ballot envelope, and she's sent the information to the printer, and they're waiting for a mock-up to be sent, and then she's gonna send it to us.
So they're going to take our suggestions?
They're taking our suggestions, it might not be in the same order, they're trying to fit everything on. She did tell me that they have to design 2 envelopes, one for the primary that shows the party choice, and the other one just for general, non-primary elections. So I don't have anything for you.
Hopefully it happens. It's good.
It's over a month already, we have nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe you should just call her, just follow.
I did call her, I called her today, that's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
I'm sorry, I didn't
I
hear
called
it.
her today to confirm, and Mr. Lynch asked me to call, and we're still waiting.
And your list and hers was similar, I hope, if not exactly the same.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be okay.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to new business. The Board of Elections schedule has to be decided. You have it in your packet. Are there any dates that are not suitable?
At this point, they all look okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say duly entered without any problem.
And the reorg is about as late as we can do it.
As late, yeah, right, that's right,
Yeah.
yeah.
I move we adopt the board meeting dates as presented.
Second.
Roll call, Maria?
Chairman England? Commissioner Frank?
Yes.
Commissioner Castro?
Yes.
Commissioner Moskowitz?
Yes.
Next is the Woodbridge polling place change request.
Steve?
Okay, unfortunately, we have, I don't know if I have it. Well, this one is
No, that's
Baptist churches, yeah.
I didn't see it on your report.
It's not on
No,
my
you
report.
won't.
It's- I have
We
the,
can pivot and I can get the details on it from the
Okay.
email you sent me, so if you want to go to the next item.
Okay. All right, let's move on to
What is,
board policy paper reviews.
Wait a minute, you have
What
other
was-
things in your report, you want to come back to your report? We don't have that listed, we don't have reports listed, there was a separate item.
yeah, I got it on
Oh,
here, but I don't have
administrative
it.
reports, it is at the end.
Right.
Oh, do you want to do them individually? Is that the idea of doing this?
Well, no,
No, the
you go by
administrative
agenda.
reports is at the end.
I probably took out his,
The
I
Woodbridge
might have
one.
had your details, but
Yeah.
I'll print it out so you have something to go by.
Okay.
But the next
I
item.
know what it is off the top of my head, I just can't remember the districts, if that's okay.
I'll print-
There's two
I'll
districts.
print it out so you have it, so you can,
Okay.
Is there an agenda for the public? Thank you.
Do we need to adopt it, this meeting, or do we have it time?
How do we need to do
we
it
need
this
to do
week?
it this meeting. I'll print it out.
Got it.
If you want to go on to the policy papers, and I can, to summarize, the policy papers are two policy papers. One was confirmation of your actions regarding poor worker conduct that I kind of put in a formalized fashion. The other one was, one you may want to review and discuss was regarding unaccounted provisional ballots regarding the provisional ballots were funded into the envelopes in terms of the new procedure for staff to follow for future elections. So if you want to review those, one was already approved, it's just kind of codifying it. And the other one is for your kind of review and maybe input before maybe adoption at the next agenda. I'll print that out.
Yeah, your proposal is to be adopted the next time, so.
All right. The
Do you have any, should we say
board
any
policy
comments?
paper
I'm
reviews,
not-
the
I'm pretty
poll
happy
worker
with both.
conduct and the audit
Yeah, no,
provision of that.
Do you have any comments?
I sent my comments to the administrator.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most of them were grammatical or structural in content.
I just think we need to restrict it.
Right.
I think that,
Yes.
Is that the
Well, it's
idea?
just a question of whether if we had the
did
stuff
you have
here.
the feeling nobody's listening to anybody?
Yes.
You already got your comments, and I have no comments.
I didn't finish my comment. My comment was, the corrections that I made or added was grammatical and structural in intent. I believed what was clear was what we had discussed is definitely included. And I think the timing of the actual approach to the poll worker and the immediate follow-through that we want is excellent. But I believe also, since I had spoken with Mr. Lynch, that some, as I said, structural changes with the format of the sentence will be sent to all of you in the next and final policy. But that does not change anything that is included. That concludes my comment.
Now, Linda, when a poll worker gets the warning, and then the next time if they violate that, the same policy, how do you handle the next step?
I believe it depends on the issue. I mean, it's
Correct.
called a suspension for.
Do you keep a record of who got letters and who
In the past, it was a
got warnings?
file.
Because in the past,
Currently,
I don't think we did too much.
Yeah, we-
Ms. Henry is keeping track of the poll worker issues, and we have a database that we'll all be able to access.
Okay.
Yeah, spreadsheet,
I think
database.
past
It was just-
violations, we couldn't find them.
Right.
Yeah,
It was just a folder with the letters in it, so now we have a database
yeah, I
of
think
the
we
issues.
talked about that at the last meeting, some Excel spreadsheet or something.
Correct.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't think there's been any comments about, substantive comments about the policies, just for your.
So just as a question, are you now keeping, which would be, for no better term, a notebook with policies instead of saying, are we gonna, sometimes it looks like you're almost going by date.
I just went by that, just images creation of just something I can follow.
Okay,
Are
fine.
you suggesting a policy manual?
We don't have a policy
Well,
manual.
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think,
We have one for SKRS we had started
Right,
years ago,
yes, you're
but
right.
for, yeah.
I think we should start something like this.
Keep
You
it
know,
formal,
before-
that way we have,
Yeah.
does not become a personal attack at anyone, it's the
Yeah.
formality of our decisions
We
and the
can keep it in
necessity
book,
of
but I
making.
think we ought to scan it in too, so if
Oh,
someone
no, we
wants to
should,
grab it.
absolutely,
we can grab it.
absolutely.
And I like the way you phrase that. It's like school homework.
This has already been adopted.
The first
Yeah.
one,
The
has-
first one,
right.
second one would be for consideration. These ones have to.
Okay.
So let's go back to Steve, the Woodbridge situation.
To which, so what are we doing here?
We're going,
Woodbridge polling.
Okay, I did not hear what Sylvia said.
Okay, we have a polling place request change in Woodbridge. A few years ago, Buns Lane Community Center closed down so they could do a bunch of construction and revamp the whole building. So we moved into Warren Park.
Where?
It's Warren Park. And that would be districts that were affected were 1, 3, and 112.
112? Oh,
Yes.
it's moved to this.
So they basically went through everything and now they're open again. It's in the same exact location at this point. They have a community room and that's what they want us to use. So John set it up for us to go out and take a look at it. It's beautiful. It works a lot even better than, it looks better than Warren Park by far. So we always knew that was going to be a temporary change, and now that it's set, John wants it to switch back for all elections. So basically we just need a vote on that.
And both
Yes.
municipal chairs were notified and they're
Yes, we have an email string here that he actually sent it out, so he sent it out.
I move that we adopt the Woodbridge polling location change as presented. Second.
Roll call? Yes.
Commissioner Frank?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Commissioner Halsey?
Yes.
What's the name of the building?
The unaccounted
housing.
provisional ballot issue next.
That was part of the board policies.
That's under the
Okay.
Are we going to discuss the recruitment plan, or are we just going to hold it for next time?
Well,
I
I
don't
would leave
care.
to either you want to like just maybe review and then maybe make your
Oh,
comments.
you have, okay.
It-
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
You can either review and then comments and then we can maybe address it.
No,
at the
that's
next
fine. I
board
didn't
meeting,
realize that.
Or you
Yes.
want a partial discussion now, I'll leave it.
No, I
We should look at it right now because we have elections coming up in March.
Yeah, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do any major recruitment between now and March.
In the kind of document are like 3 quick things that we'd be doing right now that are minimal cost or no cost and start with press releases to local papers of record in the area, as well as municipal papers, online publications using the county social media platforms as a way to reach people. And then there's some free job sites where we can post things prior to an election and recruit some people. So those are the 3 immediate things we can do to maybe begin to track where we get some of these poll workers from. And then some of the other ones are, quite honestly, take more development with stakeholders, and they're just more, they're not my ideas alone, they're just ideas that other counties have kind of done to kind of maybe niche poll workers in terms of attracting groups of people to volunteer, to be poll workers.
When you make the general request as social media, etc., do you put this address down as the contact for the person who's interested?
It would be your typical, Facebook or Twitter post that you would see.
But what do you say to the person who's
You could put a
reading it?
link where the application, to the link to the application that the state provides, where you can provide the elections at Middlesex, or co.middlesex.njus. You can use their phone number, or you can use any number.
I'm suggesting that if I'm reading it, and I am somewhat interested, and I do not have a tremendous background as to how to go about that, the more steps you give me to contact someone to get the position, the less apt I am to follow through. Which is why I'm saying, if you're sending this out from the Board of Elections, are we using just the Board of Elections phone number or address, the person that would be, could just simply call here?
Yeah, in the past, Beatrice, the poll coordinators had applications.
Right.
They were sent, went directly to them.
Yeah, if somebody calls here, it's based on what town. So whoever calls here from, depending on what town they're calling, they're going to be forwarded to the staff member that
To
handles
the
that town.
coordinator.
So it'll be one phone number calling here and they'll get their information.
Good.
Or
I
And if
just
they're-
prefer
online
the
application.
single number. That's, I agree with you. Of course, I
Yeah.
know that you have to
Not every
go.
person is required to fill out an
municipality.
application, though. There's some that call the phone, and we forward them to now the party chairs, because then the party chairs do the recruiting. We don't recruit. So we would forward them to, instead of
Which
putting a
is-
list of party chairs in the
again,
newspaper
fine.
or online,
Yeah.
we, 4 people handle
Yes.
towns, and then they pass them on to.
I'd
agree.
recommending one point of contact.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if we get,
That's
and
exactly.
if we get people from a town that doesn't need it, then we'll see if they want to go
Cross-check
somewhere else.
them, yeah.
And then it goes to your staff person.
So I guess we'll look at this,
I,
the
I,
rest of this later.
I think that makes the most, as I said, if I have to do 2 steps to look up who the clerk is in my town, I might not do that.
Maybe for next month, I could give you preliminary
Want
language
somebody to do
or
something.
press release
As easy as possible. Absolutely.
Thank you. Did everybody
Tell
do
that
that?
all the time.
Absolutely agree.
I heard him.
Mail-in ballot and provisional challenge schedule for future elections.
This is an item that Commissioner Katz had brought up, so I didn't know if you wanted to kind of address that.
Yeah, we don't need, I want to keep it on the agenda, but we don't have to necessarily discuss it now. The concept is, if you recall from the last meeting, is it took us literally almost the entire election day just to go through the voids, et cetera. And that was a non-presidential election. The presidential election, there's no way we're going to be able to do it and still be able to service, take care of problems on election day. So it's a question of scheduling, not opening ballots or anything, but the voids, most of the voids will be able to handle prior to election day if we do some scheduling. So we have to think about whether we want to do that, and we don't necessarily have to do the scheduling right now at all, but we should think about it.
I sent you all the schedule too, the whole entire year, everything that's going on. I've sent you guys that chart, the election dates, the closed registrations, the cutoffs, the mail ballot review, that kind of stuff.
We'll
So,
have most of the voids will probably be in pre-election day. And we'll be able to cover a lot of that if we do
Yeah.
it earlier.
so either you're talking the day before,
I don't know, maybe the week before, maybe twice. I mean, if it took us 10 hours. It took us 10 hours to do this on a on a non-presidential year, on a state assembly year, which is comparatively low turnout.
right, because you have the challenges that are coming in,
Right.
and you have the poll for commissioners.
Right, well, we can't necessarily do all of the challenges, but we can do all of the
Well,
mechanical.
Challenges are on
We can't do the
election day.
challenges.
They're
right.
on election day.
But the other
challenges.
problem
No.
I have is that so many days before, you're taking away from the staff, which has a lot of work to do also.
Yeah.
So we gotta worry about them balancing their work and us balancing our work.
Right.
And what that would mean, because that's difficult for
Yeah.
them.
But it's mechanically, we won't, presidential election, we will not be able to accomplish this on election day.
Right.
And even if we could accomplish it on election day, we won't be able to deal with election day problems because we're going to be sitting there doing that.
We like the day before. If you can come in the day before an election, a major election, to look at stuff, that'll help us out a lot. We'll have everything organized, the challenges will be
Does that
almost
work
done.
best for you?
Yeah. But you just need to figure out, because challenges on the day before will be here from 9 to 12. So if you guys can come in after that,
Well, no, but if all of the voids that are not, maybe the challenges, maybe the challenges we hear on election day or
correct,
whatever
but
it
I'm
is.
saying the challenges will be here in this room. So I can't have the commissioners
Oh.
going over stuff if they're gonna be here going over stuff. It's not gonna work. There's gonna be challenges, you know that.
Yeah,
Right.
We'll come in after the challenges.
Yeah.
but I don't think it's going to be enough time.
So what
Coming
if-
at 1 on the day
I mean,
before.
all I can say is, it took us 10 hours on
But you
our
also have
selection.
challenges going on too.
Some of them were, yes, some of them were
Yeah,
hearing
some
challenges, that's true.
correct.
What, assuming we have the same scale of the presidential in terms of things, how much time, not challenges, how much time should we
It's
need?
really the signatures that you're.
Yeah,
you need
that's
to really
signatures are most of the
look at.
time.
That's,
Right.
more time consuming, but then after that, once that's looked at, then you can just,
Yeah,
fly
well,
right through
I
it.
mean, are you comfortable, I mean, I just want to make sure that we can get it done. Are you comfortable with us coming in like the afternoon before election?
Yeah,
Because
that's what
we
you're
have
just
to-
saying.
Right, we
Is
have
that
to
enough time?
remember
You think that's-
challengers are coming in, they wanna look at the whole for commissioners as well.
Yeah,
So
okay.
if you're coming in beforehand, then they have to
You
go
do
back to,
private
it's just,
ballots.
interferes with it.
So we're suggesting like 1 in the afternoon on the day before the election. That's plenty.
Okay, but we also have to make a cutoff time for you guys because you're the ones who also need some rest that have to continue. I'm just saying
Right.
it's going to have to continue, so whatever we do, how many hours that is, whatever we decide, we'll have to set a cutoff is like 6 or 7,
Well,
no
Even
later.
if you just do the signatures the day before and do everything else the day of, because that,
Well,
again, you're gonna fly through that.
why don't we do this for the primary in the timing, and we'll see if that works. Because if it doesn't work for the primary, it certainly won't work for the general, because the general will be more. If it works for the primary, then maybe, No, we'll get a feel for this.
I understand. I also believe
Yeah, okay.
that just setting up the fact that we are going to meet the day before makes the most sense. Whatever time it takes,
Right.
we'll be able to work out. Nobody knows what,
Right,
how
right.
much will be necessary and not necessary. We may, all of a sudden, the post offices may all work really brilliantly and everything will come in perfect. Right? Could happen. So all I'm saying is I agree, certainly there should be a limit of time, because the people who work here, we can stay the whole time, because we're fabulous, but the workers
let's-
need to have some.
My suggestion is we do it for the primary, the timing that you're talking about, and if it works fine for that, then good. If it, for the primary, it doesn't work fine, then we know we're gonna have to adjust, do some adjustment for the general.
I don't really have too many, hold for commissioners prior to that, so like typically a week before the primary, that's when I have a whole bunch of them, you know.
Right, a week,
Better,
but that would be
right.
like a week before, so we can.
But
if
it does
we-
work better for
Remember,
the
we're
day before.
doing all
Yeah,
this.
no,
But it's-
this is fine. I mean, let's try it with the primary, and if it works, then we'll do the same in the general. If it doesn't work, then we have
And the
to,
legality
tweak
is
it
that we
before
can't
that.
in fact do that, correct?
yes,
I
we're
want-
not opening ballots, we're dealing
Just
with
checking.
outside envelopes.
That's- I'm
We're
just-
inside, the envelopes
Wanna
without
make
the
that-
ballots open.
Good.
But even, like in this case, if you accept something that we have put aside, we have to still process it, so this will give us time to process something that you've
That would be
accepted.
publicly noticed as well.
Right.
Right.
And as long as you can get the signatures done early, then that's gonna help us out a lot.
That's fine. So
All right, so I'll schedule, I'll put it on the chart.
make sure we got it,
And we're gonna add it
our
to
schedules.
Try to make it be.
All right, next on the agenda is the administration reports. Let's start with
Uh-huh.
warehouse. Steve.
Yeah, there's been a recent uptick in Catholic churches requesting to be removed as polling places now because of like what happened in South River a couple months ago, starting to happen everywhere. Basically, any of the Catholic churches, their insurances premiums are going up to be just because they're polling places like to 5,000. It's like ridiculous and they can't afford it. So
5,000 more?
yeah.
Oh,
This is what they were telling us. So the latest one now is Our Lady of Fatima over in Piscataway. They're dealing with the same thing. So anybody who's connected with that and make their polling place may end up having to step out. But we're working with the Piscataway clerk right now, and I don't expect too many more because I think they would have came across this pretty quickly. But it is happening. So that's another one that's kind of like tossing us out right now. They don't want to, but they don't have much of a choice. So. The township clerk and I are working together as far as trying to figure out which place is going to be, whether we're going to consolidate it to one, or that's a current polling place, but we'll bring probably by next month.
The next meeting.
okay.
Okay.
So that's just a notification more than anything else to let you know.
Well, there's nothing we can be pretty proactive in terms of other Catholic churches until
No.
they ask for it.
It's just unfortunate, and it's just one of those things. The staff is actually working on stripping all the voting machines. Basically, at the point where we're finished, except for the 36 machines in Sayreville, those are put away.
Since I'm new to this, can you just tell me what you're stripping?
All
There
identifiers
should be-
for
there's no
Middlesex
information-
County.
There is information in the machine.
Yes, like we had in there, on the audio bag, we had stickers that said, call the board elections, so on and so forth, don't open it. Our emergency ballot boxes all had our information on there that had to be taken out as well. We also had a little barcode on the side of the machine that was an identifier for our hand scanner system. That was our asset track. That's all things for Middlesex County. The vendor pretty much wanted, meaning Dominion, wanted us to take the chips out, so this way they weren't going out when they were. So that was we do that. We have all the chips taken out. They're all set aside. And then the state wants us to take out the seals. All their seals that are on there, they're anti-theft seals type thing.
Yeah, I think you should.
They want all that taken off too. They don't want anybody to see those, so we strip those as well. So basically, it's a shell. It's got all the electronics in it, but it's basically just a shell at this point. And then we set it up with ES&S, and they'll be coming tomorrow morning actually to start taking the machines out. They literally just drive them right to the dump. That's exactly what they're doing. So, and we, of course, ES&S request was to take the batteries out because we can't scrap the machine with the battery in there, that's recycled. But again, I will swindle them to take the batteries too, because I'm gonna be like, it's part of the machine, so they'll do that for us. We did actually receive an email from Patrick Parmley from the Division of Elections stating that the 2020 handicap accessibility checklists are pretty much ready. So we will start that accordingly. Right now, we've got bigger fish to fry, but eventually we'll start working on that and sending our people out. And then there's just a couple of lights out in the warehouse, which I like because they're replacing them again. I told you at past meetings with LEDs. It's only been 7 years I've been trying to request this, so the county's moving very quickly on it. So as they burn out.
That's sarcastic.
Yes, a little bit.
Steve
As they,
Johnson.
as they burn out, they're replacing them with LEDs. and
No
that-
one is bringing in BB guns and shooting
It
at
is
the lights.
dark.
No, we're letting it do it naturally. You were there at the recount, you saw it got a
I
little
got
dark
it,
in there.
got it.
There's some that were out.
It's dark in here, Steve.
It's a celebration for us.
on?
Yes, that was all our lights. That's all our lights. And it was sunny that day too, so you guys are very fortunate. So we have a light issue, I guess you could say. It's a dungeon. So that's it for us.
Linda?
Okay, we had we went live today with a new SVRS system. It's quite interesting. We've had a lot of glitches, a lot of issues. We're learning a whole new system. We think it'll be okay. It's just a lot to get used to. It's totally different. So things that aren't working, things we'd like that's working. So the staff is trying to get used to that. IT had come in and gave us 12, I think, or 13 new PCs. We're getting additional for the residents who don't have it. Any workstation what's not being occupied daily will eventually get the new computers for any new people that come on, or extra people or new people that are going to get hired. So it's interesting. The fire election on Saturday, February 15th will be, depending on how many ballots are sent out, mail-in ballots, we may need more staff because the amount of ballots that will be sent out now. So, and it's all hand counted. So those ballots are still hand counted. Each fire district designs their own, so they're usually all different. You know, I know they're still working on the shape files to be able to put them in the system so we can generate poll books. Right now, we do a report based on who wants a report, and we make it look like a poll book. We talked about this, so they can have a signature. The Fran works on that, so it takes a lot of time. We bind it, we send it out. So when they do the shape files, it'll be much easier for us to do reports.
Can we require them to be consistent vote by mail ballots so we can put them up, count them on the machines?
We don't govern them, so they're under Title 40, I believe, so we don't really have a lot
Can
of
we
say.
charge them for the extra work? We do it by counting it by hand?
We do charge them for staff. So what they'll do is Maria will send a letter to each fire district asking if they want staff available to answer any questions. If they say yes, we do charge them based on.
But we also were charging them for the counting of the vote by mail ballots. No,
Just the staff.
just,
The staff
well,
to
the
be
staff,
present.
but our staff is counting them.
Our staff is counting them, but
I'm just trying to see if,
we don't really charge them we charge them for a supervisor and then like 4 employees.
Okay.
We don't count them for the additional unless we're changing our
well,
policy.
the only reason I'm mentioning this is if we charge them for hand counting and it takes more staff, that's a higher dollar number
Yeah.
than if it was on the machine. And we could say, if you use the common format that we use, then it'll be a reduced cost because we have less personnel.
I'm just not sure if they can program it, and now we have.
Okay, I don't know, I'm
machines,
just asking
so
a question.
I'm not sure that they can program it, isn't able
Okay.
to program the election in the past, machines, old machines or the new
Yeah.
machines.
Okay, well,
And they've also received increases because of the vote by mail law.
Yeah.
oh, there's,
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I am sure that
30 to 40,000,
virtually,
right?
Yeah.
virtually every fire district will have more ballots going out to voters than they typically have on coming in and voting in person.
In the past, we used to have maybe 2 boards, so 4 employees, opening them, counting. Now it's like we're gonna need more staff.
Yeah.
To open those ballots and start hand tally. There's questions and it's candidates too, so.
Okay, well, maybe we should, it's too late, I don't want to rush this year, but maybe we should think about for next year whether there's something that we can do to incentivize them if it otherwise can work, so they do consistent format of a vote by mail ballot so we can run it through the machine.
Or move to November. Plainsboro is moving their fire election to November. They're the only town.
Well, we got another 7 or 8 towns in the fire districts, I think, I don't remember the number.
There's a lot,
Yeah.
Like Woodbridge alone has like 10 fire
Woodbridge.
districts within.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
So
It just listed the Edison and Woodward School election coming up.
We don't know the hours yet.
I talked to Cheryl today, and she's trying to get it to go from 2 to 9
Yeah.
instead of an all-day thing. Woodbridge, I believe, is, excuse me, 2 to 8. Woodbridge is 2 to 8, and she's trying to do 2 to 8 also. So right now, we're not sure.
Thank you. Administrator's report? Sure.
Just quickly, just an item that we previously had reviewed, the minimum wage increase to $11 an hour on January 1st. Before, or actually after the election, the board acted to be in compliance with the state law in terms of minimum wage, in terms of poll workers who are not trained on their annual basis. So just maybe for a future hearing, just maybe an action just so that we kind of go with that graduated scale for minimum
Well,
wages.
see, I can handle that if you would take a motion now. I move that we pay poll clerks who have not taken training the then current New Jersey minimum wage.
Second. Roll call?
Ewing,
Yes.
Commissioner Frankel?
Yes.
Commissioner Castro?
Yes.
Commissioner Moskowitz?
So they're getting the higher rate but haven't trained?
No, we have to pay them the minimum wage, which is less than the $200. But the minimum wage keeps going up. If we don't pay them the minimum wage, then we're in violation of that. So the difference between the $200 and the minimum wage is going to get less as we go up, but still, we can't pay them less than the law provides that we pay them.
It was $125 that they were getting paid, and with this new law, they're getting paid $140.
Thank you. Yes.
Next, just a quick item because it is a lawsuit. Just wanted to briefly say that the Attorney General's office is working on a response to the lawsuit on our behalf as our counsel. Legislatively, I just wanted to make you aware of a couple of laws that, in terms of lame duck with the New Jersey legislature that are pending or have been recently signed into law. One would, as you well know, in terms of the local council mandates, rejected the vote by mail laws from last year and the prior year. The legislature is attempting to reestablish those laws along with a $4 million fund for county clerks to be able to pay for the costs incurred in terms of those new laws. Second item would be Secretary of State to establish online voter registration system that would authorize the use of digitized signatures from motor vehicles. That is pending, but is slated to be voted on Monday. And recently signed into law was a prohibition on voting by persons on parole and probation. So that's, I guess, slated to take effect March 17, 2020, so after the special school election, but just in time for New Brunswick school election and the primary. An item that was on the previous board agenda was the New Jersey Department of Homeland Security did visit our office on December 18th. They did a cyber and facility assessment where they went to the warehouse, the main office, the county clerk's office. They visited with IT. They asked a lot of thoughtful questions and actually brought up a couple of things that we can take immediate action on, but there are a couple other items that in terms of security improvements to the building, that they have recommendations on that can be tied to state funding. Some federal dollars that are actually state grant dollars that are available for counties to use in 2020. And then lastly, ESS implementation. Scheduled the ESNS to attend the next board meeting for kind of as a revisit of a kickoff event for the implementation of voting machines. As Steve had highlighted, the removal of the Dominion machines is taking place on Friday and continuing through. We have some delivery dates for the express vote machines to come in and a project plan based on the fact that Edison and Woodbridge kind of moved up our timetable. We're going to have to revisit some of the benchmarks and timelines and share them with you prior to...
They're going to have the new machines.
I was going to say, Danny, because you said the dates are,
Yeah.
What are we going to do about
Truck training.
poll clerk training manuals?
Well, that's an item I discussed with, I
As
reached
we all
out to
look
the
at
clerks. reach out to the clerks and, we're gonna be making an attempt from the board's perspective to go out and meet with the clerks, establish what they would like in terms of public awareness campaign and poll worker training, where they, what events would they like us at between now and March, as well as poll worker training requirements, how many they would like, and when they would like them. So
Yeah,
it's
but
something
I'm
that.
talking about the book.
The book is, again, it's because of the truncated timeline, we're probably gonna have to do something that is.
It's an interim.
It's an interim, it won't be what we would obviously use for the general election, but we feel confident with what we already have and what ES&S has as in
Yeah.
terms of opening and closing. We can put together a package that, gets the message across.
So we'll have to work on it for the primary.
It'll be something, that, much like we started to do last year in terms of the groups looking over the poll worker training and the public awareness, those groups will start meeting again to kind of get ready for March.
Will the poll worker training be at the schools or awareness?
Again, a conversation I mean, and again, I don't want to jump ahead because like Steve and Linda and myself haven't gotten together and discussed,
Okay, all right.
talked about that,
Next
along with the.
Well, you're gonna have an Edison and Woodbridge special, so I assume we'll probably do one in Edison and one in Woodbridge.
Might be more than one.
Okay.
The preference would be to do more
I
than
know,
one.
but it's more than one training.
Oh, after
Yeah,
March,
yeah,
you're gonna
yeah.
have to do more.
No, but
No,
before
even
the March.
before, even
Even
March.
before, because I would like to
Yeah.
give poll workers, but without
This
more
also,
opportunities to
Yeah.
attend training, even multiple
Yep.
if they could
Yep.
prior to.
Okay.
I love that this is the biggest towns in the county. I love it. I think it's great because you're talking about a yes and no question. That's what they're voting on. So
And
as far
it's
as I'm concerned, we
consolidated.
can train these poll workers.
Not as many poll workers, it's consolidated for
Right.
March.
But at least we're touching, and I'm gonna suggest they just invite everybody. Just bring them all.
Absolutely.
We'll do them all. And then
Everybody.
hopefully they come back for the primary. And then hopefully
Everybody.
they come back for the general as well.
Just to look at the
Everybody
machine.
countywide, or
No,
everybody?
everybody in their towns, their respective towns, invite them all. Invite them all, whether they're working it or not, just invite them. The more times they see these machines, the better off they're gonna be. That's all that matters, it's just.
And you know what, they're gonna wanna come in the beginning. too.
Absolutely, I think so. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of
Correct.
minding about mandatory
Right,
this year.
right.
Because this predicates on their job and they're gonna be.
Multiple trainings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And multiple machines there too. We'll break it down in little groups and they'll be using
Yep.
machines.
Yep.
And then I just had for a good board at the bottom, Commissioner Katz said that in terms of the updating of the website, in terms of maybe getting some pictures of the commissioners, maybe the March reorg might be a better time to.
Take all pictures.
Will you see who's appointed?
We have a better backdrop, maybe something nice.
Like a flag or something, or a flag back there?
Something.
So,
That's it?
that's it, thank you very much.
Can I add one thing to your report regarding the legislation with the, to remove the prohibition of voters by persons on parole and on probation? Just a comment that we got the form from the state requiring the new voter registration applications. After September 17th, the old ones need to be destroyed. You can't use the current ones, they need to be destroyed. Anybody who has any voter registration applications, they're not registered.
Is that a language there?
Because what's being added?
The probation,
Oh, yeah.
remove the probation
Being
and
removed
parole.
from the application.
That's on
Is
the
that on
current
the
register,
form?
yes, it
Okay.
says if you're on probation or parole or incarcerated.
Right.
Good point, thank you.
What if someone submits one? An old form?
We're gonna accept it, but we just can't hand them out. We can't.
No, I understand, that's what I meant, I mean,
That's what she's saying.
because if they submit them,
Yeah, but we're not promoting the fact.
no,
that-
I understand that, yeah.
Okay, Commissioner comments?
Just very briefly, you made me think that I had occasion to be at the Motor Vehicle Bureau this past week on a Saturday. Foolish was that. But I cannot tell you how often persons working there ask me if I was registered, ask me about voting. I think that's wonderful. To make that reminder, there's young persons getting the license for the first time, and to be told that that's just as important as getting that. So I appreciate whoever it was that made that happen.
Although my understanding is the way it is now is, it's by default, you register unless you say you don't want to register.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
it's still
I
good.
kept saying yes,
It's still
so I
good.
don't know,
It's
but
still
they
good.
mentioned it, and you had the discussion
Yeah, that's good.
as well.
Yeah.
Only took 3 hours. Saturday. Wasn't
Okay.
nice.
Public comments.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said commissioner.
Are you done? Yeah, are you done?
Good evening, Commissioners. Charles Cradaville, New Brunswick Today. I wanted to follow up on an issue I brought up at your last meeting. That this board is still a little bit behind the times in terms of the meeting schedules not posted on the web, meeting agenda not posted on the web, meeting minutes not posted on the web. I know the executive director said he was working on that. Is there a time frame on when that might happen?
Time frame, I don't have a time frame, but we did have a productive meeting with IT at the county in terms of, we kind of gave them the outline of what we like, and it was pretty dense. So I know that they're working on it. I was there with IT yesterday, and they said to be able to send us like a template of what they worked on with the information that we gave them. So we gave them all the links that we worked on in terms of, everything that we would need, as long as some more information. So it's as well as like the minutes and that type of thing. And another item, in terms of public access would be, the county said they would have the ability to post the minutes, or at least the audio portion of our meetings on the website. So that would be an additional thing in terms of reducing requests or at least costs or anything, that more easy access in terms of that. So it's on the table. I'll follow up, and then maybe at March I can give
To be on the Board of Elections.
I'll add it to the next board agenda, and we'll be able to get like a more definitive time.
The request is to post the audio?
Well, I didn't mention that in my remarks, but I'm glad to hear that it might be the case.
I think we should discuss that first, because there are a lot of different things that could be misinterpreted if there's no explanation.
Well, let's put it this way. If you guys don't, I'll file the OPA request and I'll post it on YouTube for everybody to listen to there. So I would prefer that the county do it, but I was planning on anyway doing that myself. Moving on, would like to ask about the new voting machines. Will they be used in the fire elections, or are they not for rent, not available?
We never use machines for fire elections.
Okay, it's only paper, right?
Or the fire districts get their own machines elsewhere.
Right. But they will be ready for the March
10th.
special school referendum. And what is the exact date on that?
March 10th.
March 10th. Okay, so that'll be the first time. Have they all been delivered?
They're coming.
Yeah, we have a delivery
The old
date
ones
for
out first. Still gotta get the old ones.
Yeah, we have to get rid of the old machines and new machines.
But we have
coming.
enough new machines to cover
We
this.
covered it
If
already.
For some reason.
We're already got enough right now.
Yeah.
Okay, terrific. Well, I look forward to using them in April in New Brunswick, and I, will do my level best to help educate our readers and our audience on the changes that are coming down the pike. And thank you for hearing me out. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Lucille?
Poll workers, what is the age of poll workers? Could it be 16 and they work half a day, or 18?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, 16 and 17-year-olds are limited half days.
Okay, are they allowed to come in at 6 o'clock,
There's
or do
no-
they have to? Oh, by the way, Happy New Year, everybody. And I hope you had a good holiday.
They can't come in prior
No,
to, I believe it's 7
we had
to start.
we had this discussion
Can't
a
start.
while ago, because the Department of Labor, I remember this discussion was maybe a year ago, and as I understood that when the smoke cleared, that they can do a half a day in the time,
No.
starting time.
No, but
is
not
an issue.
before 6.
I
believe
do it
it's
all the
7.
time, so let me talk about it, all
Oh.
right? I hire them 16 and 17-year-olds all the time. They can work 8 hours, between the hours of 7 and
Correct.
7 a.m. and 7 p.m.
Yeah.
In accordance with the Department of Labor. It used to be half a day, but
Now
now
it's
changed.
8 hours.
And we're
That's right,
broken
7
up.
a.m. to 7 p.m.
They can work 8 hours within that time frame.
So
They
not-
can't work late at
So
night.
they can't open and they can't close.
Right.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Wow,
That's
so
for
that's,
sure with the
No,
Department of Labor?
absolutely, I have it in
Yeah,
writing.
she's correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Yep.
It's 7.
Because our discussion, I guess my memory was incorrect, because I thought we had this whole discussion, and that they could do the half day starting whatever time it was.
Not before
Okay.
7.
And Lucia,
Because that
just to
came up
update
recently.
a little bit, the parents have to sign off in November when the schools are closed. In June, the principal of the school has to sign off, or a guidance counselor has to sign off that they can work. So if they're a bad student, they usually don't sign off. I mean, that's my experience.
as far as recruiting them, the local websites, those are all good ideas to update this. I'm not good at this Instagram. is that gonna be on your things? Twice this week, some kid told me Instagram, and I said, well, I don't know Instagram. But it seems, even in the elementary schools, I was in elementary school, is that gonna be part of your social outreach, that type of thing?
Well, the Board of Elections itself doesn't have social media platforms, so
Well,
we
you,
would.
you had mentioned it, that's why I
Yeah,
even
but
said.
I was gonna finish was that the county has social media platforms, and I was kind of referencing that they have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, so whatever we could use across those platforms
So yes,
to,
yeah,
So
they
thank
do
you.
have Instagram.
Right,
Yeah, so again, using Instagram or Twitter, it's different, it's different social media platforms, so it's different.
I'm not familiar, but
Messages,
apparently
but-
these young people,
That's what's used there.
The young people
As opposed to Facebook.
do like the brand.
when, whatever happens with these poll workers, I know it was mentioned that the local chair would be contacted and such, and that's fine, but I assume you're gonna contact the coordinator also.
It's either the party chair and or designee, correct? I know there's designees, the coordinators, yes.
Right, because some,
Yes.
I would suggest, you know your coordinators, just
Yes.
contact them along with the party chair.
We don't wanna leave out the party chair.
No,
so they can be
along with the
included.
party chair is
Yep,
my thing.
That's what we do.
Because I've been noticing in some towns, they don't talk to each other, whatever, so communication is good to everybody. With this poll worker thing, I know it's every 2-year training. Maybe with this provisional, what has happened in the last couple elections, it should be a mandatory one training. Start this year, I don't know, 2 years.
Training or one training?
No,
period?
one training, anybody has to come and be retrained in this provisional era.
Everybody's, with the new machines, there will be mandatory training
Right.
for all the poll
Everybody.
clerks, because it's all new machines. So
Okay,
every
great.
poll clerk, even if they did it in June or for November, this past November, will have to come back at least before the
Okay,
June.
because
June.
as long as they know what to do with this provisional, because we don't want all these lawsuits going on.
Right.
And people losing their poll working job because they put it somewhere. They shouldn't have. Then I'm just taking notes on the week before employees, that people get hired a week before to help out with whatever. How are these people selected? I know I had some,
Are you talking about the election day processors, or?
or even who comes in a week before? I don't even know if she had mentioned they might need help the week before.
They're usually seasonals,
It's a
county
seasonal.
employees usually.
Okay.
Seasonals.
So are they labeled seasonals? Is their job county, do they work in the county prosecutor's office and then come here? How is that determined who's getting picked?
Linda, you have to answer that question, I don't know. Yeah.
So we've, if I may, okay,
Yeah, go ahead.
we made an agreement that you were a part of, and with the commissioners, and we should really just talk about that, because that's got to be developed actually.
That was my next step.
Well,
But
that's,
she-
excuse me, but that has to be developed a
Commissioner
little bit,
Franco.
that has to be developed a little bit more. So you're asking the right questions, but you also have to get the people that are gonna be trained to do the work from what we're trying to do to bring people in as seasonals. So that's something that our staff is gonna have to do. They're gonna reach out to both parties. There has to be equal amount of both parties that have to be trained. And they have to be supplied, or a list is gonna have to be supplied by both parties, so we can, as you know, it's already January, so we're behind the 8 ball as it is right now, plus new machines and everything. So these are a list of people that we need to train ourselves, be able to, those people have to be ready to go at I'll call it a moment's notice, which might be a weekly note. I mean, they're gonna have to be ready to be on call for when we need this work that builds up. So we're gonna have to work with both parties.
That's what I'm here for,
Yep.
Mr. Franco. And I'll get into that. Then the administrator mentioned a lawsuit that the AG is helping. Is that the Saver lawsuit?
Yes. The attorney, the Board of Elections, in an
Right.
election contest,
Thank
the
you,
Board of
yes.
Elections are one of the parties.
Okay.
Although the primary, quite frankly, the primary combatants, if you will, are both sets of candidates.
I got it, thank you. Okay, you're going now to get back to what I initially came for, but it was quite interesting this meeting. I might come more often. Your agreement, the agreement that was made, I believe whatever agreement that I'm not sure what the agreement was, so I'd like that agreement on the record. You had a meeting on October 3rd, and there was an agreement. The only thing I technically got on paper about that agreement was on October 9th, and I'm sorry I'm late with the holidays and everything. A letter went out from Linda Pino. Daniel Franco, Commissioner of Registration, would like to announce that Thomas Lynch has been appointed the administrator for the Middlesex County Board of Elections. As we move towards 2020 presidential election, Dan feels his leadership and guidance will be a great benefit to our organization. Tom's contact information is, and blah, blah, blah. Very nice. So I'm like, okay, was there a vote on that? Is this even so? I write back, Linda, you sent the announcement of Commissioner Franco notifying the appointment of Thomas Lynch as administrator. Oh, no, I didn't even do that. That was my second one. I immediately responded, when was the vote by commissioners taken for that appointment? I didn't get an answer right away, so I had to threaten to file an open, but it didn't matter because I got an answer 3 days later. Lucille, per notice from Secretary of Registration, Daniel Frankel, the appointment of Thomas Lynch as administrator was unanimously agreed on in executive session at the October 3rd, 2019 board meeting of the Commissioners of the Middlesex County Board of Elections. Got it. So was there ever, was there ever an actual vote on that? Or was it just an agreement? I suggest you vote right now. If there wasn't, somebody make a motion.
It was agreed to in closed session.
But that is an agreement, a valid, legal vote by the Board of Commissioners.
If there's an issue, what I would suggest is we go back and look at what the agreement is and see what we can put in public session
You know,
and ratify it
every
next
public
meeting.
hearing, do it.
And ratify it next meeting.
But I'm just saying, this is a hot.
No.
Beatrice here
So-
then? What's that? Were you here then, Beatrice?
Yes.
When we agreed on, yes,
Yes.
to that.
I'm just
All I'm
covering
saying is
everybody
we don't
here,
vote
is what
publicly
I'm
on every
doing.
plan, right?
I'm trying to do.
Well, the management.
Okay.
I mean,
because-
nobody's avoiding anything, it's just, I don't
No, I
understand
just,
your.
let's follow through and work together and make sure it's all legal. You know?
The problem is
the-
the agreement hasn't been followed through on, complete, but it will be.
Well, part of that was followed through 2 days later with a lovely letter going out. So that part got done real quick. Let's go back to the other parts of the agreement. What else was in that agreement? Of that October 3rd meeting?
So why don't
Okay, wait, I didn't finish.
So-
I'm sorry,
so-
Commissioner. I know you just alluded before that you had an agreement of timely hiring of poll people or people to look at the ballots. I think you just said in your conversation that there was an agreement that you would sit together and there would be equal number of Republicans and equal number of Democrats. I wholeheartedly agree. And that it was just held
You're
up.
talking low, and I can't understand what you're saying.
Okay, let me.
Wholeheartedly, or you don't heartedly agree?
I wholeheartedly agree that there should be a bipartisan appointment selection.
And the commissioners-
Okay,
and
I'm
the
still
commissioners-
talking, thank you.
And please, I'm gonna ask you, please, this finger pointing doesn't work for
I'm
me.
Italian, I talk with my hands.
I don't care what you do, don't finger point at me, please. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so sorry, I can't control that. You know,
You can try, I appreciate it.
I will try, but
Thank you.
from my grandmother down genetically, it's there. Alright? So, whatchamacallit? Now I lost my train of thought.
You're telling us why you came to the meeting.
Okay, let me
There's
collect
some
my
question-
thoughts
can I
again.
say something? There's just some question about I have at least notes about what you adopted. And I could just bring,
So do I,
get Tom,
they're not
yeah, Tom a copy. And whatever we feel is appropriate to be adopted, we'll ratify it at the next meeting.
Fine.
Okay, so whatever was agreed on October 3rd will be ratified by vote. Can you express, yeah, I understand the hiring of Mr. Lynch. Then Commissioner Frankel said about the bipartisan selection of who's going to count or open ballots or whatever. Because in the past, I believe it was, and correct me if I'm wrong and I'm trying to avoid this, it was Republicans, you have to have your people in by such and such date, and the Democrats went and hired from the county.
No, I'm sure that wasn't the case,
That was
but
the
I don't.
case. That was the case.
She's right about that.
No,
Whatever
let's,
change will
look
be
at who's
worse.
saying that.
It's what it was. It was.
Because it's not the law that we have to have that equal number
So-
offered, and if you can't fill it, then you go with a different party? I mean, it's
Right.
crazy,
So
if you
let me-
if you send out equal requests for party persons.
We're past that point now.
It's not law, it's
I-
statutory, okay?
You
We're
just
past-
jumped on my throat
we're
because you
past-
said
we're past
that
that.
it wasn't true.
Now we're past that point. But
Just
it
don't
was a
discredit
situation.
my statement.
It was a situation, and that got changed, at least because there was a Republican lawyer's letter saying, you change it or else you're gonna be sued. And that part was
Right.
changed, and then we
Don't know that we're
subsequently sued.
necessarily talking about the same thing.
Yeah, we are. For election day?
Whatever, I don't want to delay the meeting either,
Okay.
but you and I
Okay.
are not agreeing at this point, and that's what I would like
Yeah,
the
it
minutes
happened
to
before
show.
you were on, it started on.
That's what I'd like to clarify. That's one of the reasons why I'm here, because I don't understand it completely either.
We're past
You know, what
I
happened.
thought so.
So may I make a suggestion?
No, I'm talking, kid. I keep on getting interrupted. I'm not a young kid. My thoughts go out when I get interrupted.
Oh,
Eh? So-
This may help you when your thoughts go out of your
no,
head.
no, no. Let me finish, okay? And I
Put your
don't mean
fingers
to.
down, please, thank you.
Sure. Whatchamacallit?
Unnecessary. Fun games,
I don't like it, what you're doing
We
it
didn't
either.
see anything of that.
Alright, so listen, on election day, when there's people that come in and open the ballots, there was always, I'm just gonna go back and maybe it didn't happen. The last time I actually counted and opened things was the November 2018 election. And I know it happened last year that a certain date had to be where the Republicans had to come up with so many provisional, or whatever you wanna call them, seasonals. And I want to make sure that that happens again, that there's equal notification to Republicans and Democrats. And if they can't be filled, then work together to fill them. Because then to reach out to the county to do it, it costs very much monies. Okay, I don't know how the selection for the county employees are done, but there are county employees making $72 an hour, $79 an hour, plus a rotating day off. You know what? I find that not good for the taxpayer. And mostly, these people, we talked about how they work. These have to be the lowest paid people in the county. These, the Board of Election people. So I think that's an insult to them, by the way.
Yes.
Aside my tax dollar being spent for, you know, I don't know what expertise these people have over, maybe there's a bonus. I know they get time, and maybe you work the holiday and get money. But if you're gonna spend $39,000 on county employees to work that one day, that's just not right. Financially, no, I'm talking please, financially or ethically, morally to the rest of the workers. Go ahead, Doug, 'cause I don't know if I'm
Okay,
done, but I'm done with that.
I believe that we have resolved that issue, and when we pull out what we have and ratify concern or confirm or whatever we're going to do in connection at the next meeting, we'll make sure
Thank you. And, you know, well before, so everybody gets in the loop here. Thank you. And was there anything else discussed at that October 3rd meeting in executive session that you could recall?
I know I have notes on, so I was looking.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Now all of a sudden, everybody doesn't remember. That's real nice, guys.
No, it's
Was there an office discussed?
There were some things discussed in closed session that we're not at liberty to discuss in public.
Okay, well, you know what?
But
I
we have
find it,
notes on them. Don has notes, and
Yes.
I believe I do.
I find it insulting to a bipartisan organization, Board of Elections, that had to go to court to have positions filled and not given the respect of the position. Okay, now I'm not gonna mention names, positions, but you know what I'm talking about. It was spoken about, and every excuse for the last 4 months has come across. I find that disrespectful to all, okay, to each other, that you can't even follow through on your words, okay? So, let's get it done, folks, okay?
You see, it's in the works.
It's been in the works for how
I know
long?
for 3 months.
Right, for 3 months.
But you know the county moves slow.
No, come on, it doesn't work. It doesn't move that slow. You know what? Here's how it moves. Go wherever this office is supposed to be, get get it filled. Who's ever there, sorry, you have to move to the cubicle. No, let's not wait for a desk for 3 months, okay? You know, is that understood? I mean, am I making myself clear? I'm not saying, you know, I'm not trying to be antagonistic, but I'd like a response. Does that sound reasonable? You know, something was promised 3 months ago, you gave each other your word and it didn't happen.
I'm gonna work on it.
Okay, so is there a time frame that if that furniture's not in here by Monday, that office gets cleaned and vacuumed anyway?
I make a motion, we close the public portion.
No, I'm not done yet.
I make a motion, we close the public portion.
Why
Lucille, we gave you, Lucille, honestly, you know, normally we give people 5 minutes, okay? We've been very generous with giving you time. These are issues that we should really talk offline. You want some responses, you want it, I'm just making a motion to close the public portion, that's all.
It's called transparency.
We have
Commissioner
transparency. I make a motion to close the public portion.
Thank you. You know
I'll
what?
second it.
You did second it, I was just gonna give you the
I am
out.
gonna second it.
Okay.
'Cause
So.
I have firm agreement, I think that time limits should be in. I find some of your
I should be
comments,
forewarned.
I don't understand them, so I'd rather just talk about it with you so that I can understand what you're saying. Publicly, I think we're pretty good on this, so I'm gonna second it, but we still have to vote, correct?
Okay, so I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna end my conversation anyway, so you guys don't feel pressured to go along.
I don't feel pressure.
No, not you,
I really don't
the other
understand
two.
what you're saying.
Yeah,
No, the other two.
I would respectfully request.
I mean, there was no rules here saying you have 5 minutes.
Yeah, I would respectfully
that how
request
it's
that you
started?
withdraw.
Right, all of a sudden,
motion.
you know, somebody doesn't like what I say, so let's cut her
I'd
off.
rather not put it on the record voting against it.
Then, if I was forewarned, I would know.
There's a motion on the floor.
Isn't that what we said when Mr. Cradaville got up? Or did you the one that threw out that 5 minutes when you spoke? Thank you for my 5 minutes, so it's your fault.
I said
That's,
nothing,
it's
I
his
said
fault
nothing,
for
oh,
5
please.
minutes, and that's what
I said nothing about
So,
it.
I'm gonna stick to that,
Oh, you
and then
didn't
we'll.
keep everything. You didn't.
Right?
You didn't even
do anything.
Listen, my comments are over.
So are we voting on
Don't
that?
twist
Let's
it.
vote on the motion.
I'd like to thank,
What
I'd
motion
like-
are we voting on?
That's all right.
I'd like to thank you for your
Close the
time
public
and
portion.
your
Can we
patience,
have the vote, please?
and I'll come back next month.
Motion to adjourn
That's,
has been seconded.
No,
that's motion to close the public.
Close the public
I
portion.
didn't say adjourn.
That was seconded.
Okay, if there's no further public comment, we don't need a motion to
I
do
think we
that.
should vote on it,
Okay.
on the motion. No.
Commissioner Franklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Cast?
No.
Commissioner Rossi?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a tie. Listen, I give up.
Well, it's
My-
not your,
No.
it doesn't go back to you anyway, the chair has to make the next statement.
Is there any further comments from anybody? Let's have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Commissioner Franklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Franklin?
Yes.
Commissioner Cast?
Yes.
Commissioner Rossi?
Yes. It doesn't go back.